For the past few updates, Anime War Tower Defense has been on a generational run of just amazing update after amazing update, and since it's been quite a while since I made a beginner's guide in Anime War Tower Defense, I thought it's finally time that I come back and make a new updated beginner's guide. So in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly how to play Anime War Tower Defense as a beginner, because it's probably one of the hardest tower defense games to start playing. And just very quickly before we jump ahead into the guide, I just want to let you know guys that I'm going to be leaving timestamps throughout the video, so if you guys need to ever come back to this video, literally just go through the video and you'll be able to find it. And if you guys end up finding this video useful and you're new to the channel and you're new to AWTD, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content. But anyways, let's jump straight in. When you start a tower defense game, there's usually a few basics you want to look out for, but one thing that I think every anime tower defense player can agree on is that there's nothing like getting new characters. So the first thing we're going to cover in this video is exactly how to get characters when you start the game. And for that, I'm going to have to jump to auto count so that I can show you exactly how the beginner experience looks, because Anime War Tower Defense has a separate system for new players. Alright, so as you guys can see, I'm on my auto count now, which is level 1. And the reason why I need to be on this account is because when you start playing Anime War Tower Defense, there's a special banner for beginners, which is this beginning adventures banner. And what it does pretty much is it literally just gives you characters that are very good to start the game with. So that's the first thing I want to cover in this video, because I think this banner is very, very essential. And also it's a new thing that was added after my last guide, so I didn't actually get to ever cover it. But when you start playing Anime War Tower Defense, there's this banner, and I think this is the one you should summon on. First of all, it is cheaper than the current Dream banner, which you can also summon on, but it also has some essential characters that you just need as a beginner. And those characters are going to be Dennis, which you can see right here, and Peem right there. And if you guys don't know, of course, this might be kind of intuitive, but I'll just say it so you guys know for sure. There's different rarities in the game. You can see they all have different rates of dropping, but basically the yellow orangey one is LRs, legendary rares, which is the second hardest one to get on banner. Then ultra rares is red, that bluish purple is rares, and the green is commons. Then this pink purple that you can see here is secret characters, which are the hardest ones to drop, and they're usually pretty good. But the really good thing about Anime War Tower Defense is that rarity doesn't actually define how good a character is going to be. For example, when you start playing Anime War Tower Defense, a really good character that you really want to get is this rare mage child right here. And once you actually progress into the game a little bit, you will actually sometimes find yourself using rare and ultra rare characters a lot more than LRs or secrets. But basically what I'm saying is that most characters in this game are going to be very good, and you don't have to get an LR or secret before you can actually start playing the game. And right now I also cover it because the Dream banner is on right now. If this video was uploaded a while ago and you're watching it and the Dream banner isn't on anymore, then you can probably just skip this part. But as of me releasing the video, this banner is going to be out, so I'll mention it very quickly. I think the commons and rares are pretty much the same between the beginning adventurers and Dream banner, but if you look at the ultra rares and LRs, there are some very good ones. For example, a really good beginner character is Mini Goku, even though he is probably going to get a bit mid once you get further into the game, but he's a really good beginner character. And then some of the LRs are also very, very good to start with. But if you're new to the game, because this banner just costs more to summon on, I will just recommend summoning on this banner first anyway. Now, this is it for the beginner banner, but I'm back on my main account and I'm quickly going to cover the actual banners. So the beginner banner only stays until you're level 51, and then you actually unlock all of the proper banners. And basically how it works is you get, I think, a total of 6 banners, and they change every hour. And yeah, it's the same principle as the beginner's banner. I just wanted to let you guys know that at level 51 you unlock all of the banners, because that's one of the more recent things that they added. And now that you know how to unlock all of the banners, I think the main part that you need to know is how to summon, because there are very, very easy ways of getting the puzzle currency, which is the currency that you need to summon. And the easiest way is going to be quests. So you guys can see the quests on the left, and there are daily quests and weekly quests, which I always recommend doing because they are also the only way of getting battle pass XP, which the battle pass is really worth farming. It gives you a bunch of characters and a bunch of materials in general, so definitely really worth farming. But the actual best way of just farming puzzle pieces itself is going to be these extra quests. It's going to be upgrading units, clearing story, collecting units, achieving levels, reaching waves, and total scores. The main ones I think you want to focus on are upgrading units, total score, and probably levels, because they're pretty much the fastest ones that you can actually farm. And there's not that much more to it. You literally just farm those extra quests and you'll be able to summon quite a lot. And finally, before we move on to the next part, I just want to cover this little extra banner that's on the side, and it's the soul banner. Now the soul banner does make it much easier to actually go for a character that you want, because it will only drop the 6 characters that you can see right here, and it also does have 3 secret characters that you can only get from the soul banner that do spawn from time to time instead of the LR. But overall, as a beginner, I wouldn't recommend summoning on it, because you're going to need to use those souls for a bunch of different stuff when you start playing. So yeah, don't worry too much about the soul banner when you start playing the game, but if you do see, I don't know, a money unit that you really need and you don't have yet on the soul banner, then maybe do spend a few souls just trying to get that character. And of course, I'm sure you guys are wondering, how do you get the souls? It's literally just from summoning. So just very quickly, let me summon and let me show you guys how it works. But pretty much, you just summon, and of course, all of these characters, I already have them, so they're all going to be duplicates. And right here, the rare character drops 5 souls. And then if we keep it going, let me just see if I can get a higher rarity character. Alright, this is good. An ultra rare is going to drop 25 souls instead, which is very good. And that is basically the only way to farm the souls. But if you do what I said and you farm your quests in order to summon, then you will also be farming the souls on the side passively, which you do need not only to summon on the soul banner, but also to evolve characters, which is the next thing that we're going to talk about. Now, we finished looking at summon, and I told you guys that LRs and secret characters are some of the rarest characters to get in Anime War Tower Defense, but Anime War Tower Defense actually has a rarity above that, which is called Miracle Rares. And to understand what Miracle Rares are, you need to come to the lab, and I'll quickly explain to you guys exactly how it works. So, there's miracle units, which you guys can see right here, and they're pretty much just characters that you need to grind materials for, and then you'll be able to craft them. And when you start playing Anime War Tower Defense, the first character that you always want to go for is going to be Shining Star Idol. I always recommend Shining Star Idol because whether you're a beginner or you're like level 1000 like me, you're probably still going to be using her quite a bunch. And she's also a money unit, and I think having good money units when you start playing Anime War Tower Defense just makes the game a lot smoother. So yeah, I will always recommend getting her first. If you're lost and you don't know what to do in Anime War Tower Defense, just give yourself the goal. Alright, I'm going to be getting all of the materials for Shining Star Idol, and I'm going to be evolving her. Then, of course, there's a lot of other characters that you can get. They're all very, very good in their own right, but one thing I'll say, there's a character that literally just got added today as of me recording this video, and he seems very, very cheap to make. So if you guys are new and you got Shining Star Idol, I think he's probably a really good character to go for next. But to be fair, once you get Shining Star Idol, you can really just start going for anyone else after that. Then, if we leave Miracle Creation and we go to the Evolution Machine, there's also something else that I think a lot of Tower Defense games do, but Anime War Tower Defense does a bit differently, and that's evolutions. So I just told you guys that Miracle Rare characters can be crafted using materials, but there's also quite a lot of characters in Anime War Tower Defense that can be evolved, of course, using materials as well. There's also something else which you guys can see right here, which is going to be damage farming, which we'll cover later. But pretty much the way evolutions work in Anime War Tower Defense is that some characters are very, very good, or sometimes very bad. For this example, I'm going to take Mage Child, which I talked about earlier. Mage Child is very, very good when you stop playing Anime War Tower Defense, but as soon as you get slightly good, he will usually get replaced. But Mage Child has an evolution, and if you manage to get that evolution, then suddenly Mage Child becomes a really good character, even if you're someone that's been playing the game for ages. And this actually applies for a lot of characters in Anime War Tower Defense. Most of the best characters in this game, once you're actually late game, are usually evolutions, which is the reason why pretty much any rarity in Anime War Tower Defense can be really good. But okay, now that I explained to you how banners work, how to craft characters, and how to evolve characters, I'm sure you're thinking, well, how do I know which characters are good? And one of the things I will say about that is when you start the game, pretty much any character is good, especially if you're just trying to clear story. So the thing I would actually focus on is money units. But once you start playing a little bit and you want to know which characters to actually start working on, either from evolving them or crafting a new miracle rare, I would recommend just joining the Anime War Tower Defense Discord server, which I will put down in the description, or you can also join my server, which will be also in the description or in the comments. And whichever one you choose to join, what you want to do to know which characters you should be going for, especially as a new player, is basically just look for the best progressive characters. Now, what progressive means is pretty much any stage that's short, because Anime War Tower Defense, like a lot of Tower Defense games, has both wave stages and infinite stages, which, don't worry if I'm not explaining it properly, it's literally the next thing I'm going to talk about. But also an alternative I'd give, if you guys don't want to join a Discord server, is literally just watch YouTube videos. Just look at some recent Anime War Tower Defense videos and see what the YouTubers are using. Of course, me included, so feel free to sub to me, but there's also a lot of other really good Anime War Tower Defense content creators. So if you don't want to join any Discord servers, make sure to go check them out to actually see which characters are good, which I'm sure you'll be fine with doing if you're already watching this video. Now that we're done talking about how to get the characters, it's time that I actually talk to you guys about how to actually play the game. And even though this is kind of a basic thing in most Tower Defense games, it's kind of weird in Anime War Tower Defense, so I just quickly want to go through it with you guys. And if you want to play pretty much any stage in Anime War Tower Defense, what you need to do is press the warp button on the top left. And what that will do is it's going to open this menu, and to actually open all of the stages in Anime War Tower Defense, you basically just press create warp. And this is how it looks. There's different modes, but the first one you need to worry about as a beginner player is going to be story mode, because a lot of the raid mode stages and legend stages will actually be locked behind story mode. And what you want to do in order to clear story, if possible, is basically just get someone to carry you, because there's a very specific system in Anime World Tower Defense which is very, very good, which is the skip system you can see right here. And the way it works is that even if you're a brand new player, you're level 1, you've never touched the game before, if you can manage to find someone that wants to carry you, you can literally just get someone to skip the chapter 13, create, and you join them, and that will literally allow you to skip the entirety of story. It will just unlock every single thing in one go. And I'm sure you guys are wondering, how am I going to find someone to actually carry me? There's a few ways you can go about it. I think probably the easiest way would be joining just random public servers and asking for a carry, seeing if anyone will actually carry you. But I think the easiest way to actually get carried is probably just going to be once again joining the Anime World Tower Defense Discord. And the reason for that is that in the Anime World Tower Defense Discord, there's literally a channel created for you to ask for help in story. And if you literally just look around a little bit, you will see, for example, there's one person that was helping yesterday, and it just happens quite a lot because there actually is an incentive for advanced players to go ahead and do that stage, because it drops a really, really rare character. So because of that, you will usually find some advanced players that are actually very happy to help you with skipping story. And this game also just has a very good community, so a lot of people will just help you. So yeah, if asking in game doesn't actually get you anyone to help, just feel free to just join the Discord and see if anyone will help you there. And I think these are the two easiest ways to actually clear the story. And now that you know exactly how to just completely skip the story and that you unlocked every single stage in Anime World Tower Defense, I think I should explain what all these stages do. So story mode you've already completed, so you don't need to worry about it anymore. If for some reason you want to get Zeno, which is the rarest character in the entire game, what you want to do is either Esper City 5 or the Esper City skip, and that's pretty much the only thing you can farm from story. But now, event stages is where you're gonna have boss rush and random unit, which are both just pretty fun stages that get you a bunch of rewards. In my opinion, random unit is one of the most fun things to grind in Anime World Tower Defense, and it does give you 2 characters which are both pretty decent, especially the first one you can see right here. But event stage also has events, of course. Right now the event that's on is the Easter event, and you can see this is where you get the currency. And there's also a secret event stage that you guys can't see right now, but it does give you one of the best supports in Anime World Tower Defense. And the way to see that stage is you literally just spam the event stage button. So I'm going to keep spamming it and you'll see it spawn in a second. Alright, I didn't misclick this time. Yeah, you guys can see there's a 10% chance for a character to drop. That character is Pinky, which is a original character that I think was made by the owner of Anime World Tower Defense. And that character gets 2 evolutions, so you don't need to worry about it when you stop playing the game. But later on, you will want to get that second evolution because it is one of the best supports in Anime World Tower Defense. Now, let's look at resource mode, because that's probably one of the ones that you're going to be spending most of your time on. And the reason for that is these color stages that you guys can see right here. So, I told you guys earlier that when you want to evolve a character, what you need to do is you need to damage farm. And in order to damage farm, the best thing that you can farm is going to be these things. They do also drop orbs, which are going to be needed when you want to evolve characters, but I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. Pretty much these stages just drop orbs that allow you to evolve your characters. They're also the best place if you want to damage farm, because all of the characters are going to be a certain element and it's infinite, which makes it perfect for farming damage on characters. And the last thing I'll say about damage farming is I would recommend trying to join other people that are damage farming. Don't try and do it by yourself. You will get a lot more damage farmed if you're with other people, especially as a new player. But if you guys still need advice on how to build a team for those stages, I would literally just recommend bring any characters that stun, slow, rewind time, pretty much anything that can make the match last longer. And also, the last thing I'll talk about in resource mode is Metal Rush, because Metal Rush is supposed to be the best place where you grind gold in Anime World Tower Defense. So it is very good for beginners. If you guys are new and need to farm some gold, just jump in the Metal Rush and you will get quite a lot of gold. But once you get further into the game, you really don't need to farm it anymore, because the normal stages just drop a lot of gold as well. So yeah, in my personal experience, I have not ran this stage in probably 3 to 4 months now, so yeah. But we will come back to Metal Rush later, because even though hopefully it's not a stage that you have to farm too much, it does have a very interesting mechanic, which we will talk about in the later part of the video. Now, let's look at raid mode and legend stages, and I think we'll look at them together because they're pretty much the exact same thing, and what they are is they literally just drop materials to evolve your characters. And even though we looked at resource mode, which already drops the orbs that every single character is going to need, the way raid mode and legend stages work is that pretty much every character is going to want a different material. So for example, some characters will need those ghosts right here, some other characters will need, I don't know, some hero masks. But pretty much raid mode and legend stages is where you will find the specific materials that you need to evolve all of your characters. And one thing I will point out is that there are both short stages, which are progressive, that I talked to you guys about earlier, and there are also infinite stages. And as I said earlier, the characters you want to start with when you start playing Anime World Tower Defense are going to be the progressive characters, and raid mode and legend stages are the reason why. If you look right here, we're going to look through all of the raid mode stages. I'm going to point out every time there's an infinite stage. Rune Society, that's one. Evil Pink Dungeon, that's 2. That's it. That's it. Legend stages. Fairy Camelot, that's 1. Victory Valley, that's 2. And that's it. If I counted that right, in total there's 4 infinite stages you need to worry about. And to actually get the rewards from them, you pretty much only need to reach wave 15 to 20. So it's really easy. And I won't tell you guys how to macro, but if you guys want to, these stages like Rune Society and especially Evil Pink Dungeon are some of the best stages to macro in the entire game. So if you guys are planning on macroing, really just focus on progressive and you will just macro the infinite stages and you will be completely fine throughout your journey in Anime World Tower Defense. And talking about macroing, now that I explained to you guys kind of how to farm materials in Anime World Tower Defense, because I explained to you guys pretty much how every stage works, there's this thing called item creation right here. And what it does is that pretty much every order material in Anime World Tower Defense can be crafted using these things which are called universal material. And if you guys want to know how to make them, of course there's a way right here that you guys just saw, which is using orbs, but there's a much better way, which I'm sure you guys can imagine comes from macroing. If you guys macro, and this is why I recommend grinding the Evil Pink Dungeon stage, you can literally just grab, for example, the God Earring right here and separate it, and it will give you a lot of these materials. So for example, I just make, I don't know, 1,000 right now, and boom, that's 5,000. And if I need to evolve a character and I'm missing some flame fruits, for example, it is very easy to just come here, make 10, and there we go. Now I don't need to grind the stage, and this is literally all I need to do. And if you guys don't want to macro, which I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this probably won't want to, especially when you're new to this game, there is also another stage that you can grind, which I will say is not very beginner friendly at all. But this Shinobi Battleground stage right here is probably the best stage if you want to grind universal materials. And another thing that's very good for as well is when you want to evolve characters, you will see clear stages quite a few times. This is also the best stage to farm those clear stages, because it pretty much just takes 10 seconds to beat the stage if you have a good enough team. And whilst we're on the screen, there is one more thing that I want to talk about, and it's that, as you guys can see, you can pick some really hard difficulties. The one I do, because I'm very advanced, is going to be Master. I think I do Master, but there are some times where I will have to go down to Nightmare. But when you start the game, I think if you manage to go on Insane, that is already very, very good. But don't be scared to just start low and just go up as your team gets better. That's completely fine. And finally, the Challenger difficulty is kind of a weird one, but it's very important. So pretty much, if you clear it on the stage once, then that stage will permanently drop +1 material. And that's very useful. You don't have to do it, but if you're gonna do your stage a lot and you can easily clear it, you should really go for it. But once again, as a beginner, you don't really need to worry about it too much. And also, that only works on progressive stages, so you don't need to clear Challenger on infinite stages. And now that you've made it this far into the video, you should be able to understand how to get characters and how to actually play the game. And now the next thing I want to cover is pretty much the map. It's going to be very quick, but I want to talk you guys through the map so you guys know kind of what's happening on here, because the map does have a few different things on it that you need to know about. So I've already shown you guys Summon and the lab, which are where you're gonna get characters, craft characters, and evolve characters. But there's a few more things. The first thing is, in this corner, you're always gonna have an event. If there's no event, it's just gonna be empty, but right now it's just Easter Academy. Then we have the weekly challenge, which is where you're gonna do your weekly challenge, and it's pretty good. I would recommend doing it. It does give you trait rerolls, which I'm gonna talk about trait rerolls in more depth later. Then there's the Abyss dungeon that you unlock at level 100. And what it does is it drops a character and a token that allows you to buy more characters. Then the shop is pretty important because it is where you're going to be using tokens. So if you go to token exchange right here, then you're going to see there's a bunch of characters which are pretty much unobtainable characters that you can buy through tokens. And Stone Doctor is the first character you need to buy once you get your first Abyss token. But there's also these tokens which are Battle Pass tokens. If you want to get a Battle Pass tokens, it's very easy. You just come here and on tier 50, on tier 50 you get a 1 pass token, which allows you to buy characters from all battle passes. Then there's also the skins shop, which literally just allows you to buy skins, and the emotes shop, which allows you to buy emotes, but they don't really do anything in terms of progressing, so don't worry too much about those. They're literally just to buy cosmetics. The one that's important is the token exchange. Then there's one last thing about the map that you guys need to know about, and it is about NPCs. So Gojo, Sukuna, and Whis, which is right here next to the lab. When you talk to them, they're all going to teleport you to a stage that allows you to evolve a character. So Gojo and Sukuna, of course, you're going to run them to craft and evolve Gojo and Sukuna. And the Wii stage allows you to start farming for Dragon Ball Super characters. Then there's also a stage that appears every 6 hours. It's right here. And that one is insanely difficult. But the way it spawns is it's going to play a cutscene. and then there's going to be a teleport right here. But don't worry about that one at all when you're a beginner. Even I haven't beaten it yet, and I'm a very advanced player, but it is there just so you guys know. And then finally, there's a few secret ones that actually give you extra quests. So this one is very, very important. You need to talk to Griffith, because Griffith, I think he asks for souls or something. You need to buy the stage, but he gives you the Eclipse stage. So you won't have that stage unlocked when you start playing the game, but definitely make sure to get it. And then there's also 2 other NPCs, which are going to be Pucci, and right behind him, if you come right here, there is going to be the Moss King. You can talk to him as well. If you talk to Pucci and Moss King, it will give you a quest, which are these side quests right here. And yeah, basically just talk to them. They will give you free quests, which will be very useful later on when you actually progress through the game. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the map. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is actually how characters work and how to upgrade them, so that you guys are fully prepared to actually jump into Anime World Tower Defense. So to see your characters, what you want to do is press units. And this game is very, very advanced when it comes to how characters actually work. I'll use Benimaru as an example. So this game, first of all, has leader skills, which is very, very important, and each character leads a certain category. Every character is on a bunch of categories, which you'll be able to see on the left here. And pretty much the way it works is that when you make a team, you want all your characters, at least the ones that do damage, to pretty much all be on the same category. Because if they're all in the same category, then you can bring someone that has the leader skill for that category, and all of your characters will get a massive buff. Then right here, you guys can see, of course, my character is max level already, but you can get your characters up to level 50. And then when you limit break your character, you can limit break them 5 times, and each limit break is going to give them an extra 10 levels. Let me just quickly find a character I can do that on so I can show you guys how it works. Alright, this one's good. So I haven't actually limit broken red gem, so we're going to do it right now. You guys can see it costs a bunch of gold, but then it also starts using this little blue material, which does depend, I think, on how rare the character is. So depending on the rarity, limit breaking is going to be cheaper. But in order to limit break characters, no matter what, you are going to need miracle shards. So be very mindful of how you use those miracle shards. I would always recommend using them on money units if possible. Another thing I say as well, when you're upgrading characters, I will always recommend upgrading your money units first, because in this game, unlike a lot of tower defense games, upgrading your money unit actually makes your money unit give a lot more money. So for example, right now I have my Denji level 100, and that is something you want to do as fast as possible, because getting a lot of money when you're playing this game just feels good, and it just makes the game just more smooth to play. So yeah, definitely max out your money units first is one thing I will always recommend. Anyways, let's go back to Benimaru now, and I've explained how levels work, I've explained how leader skills work. Now it's time that we look at the hidden skill tab, and what this one does is it actually allows you to reroll the stats on your characters, and it also allows you to reroll traits. We won't spend much time talking about stats, because you're basically just aiming for the highest stats as possible, and getting the currency for it is actually very easy. All you need to do to get the currency is you go to quest right here, and I think it's the total scores one. So literally just from playing the game, you will get those materials, and it will stack up pretty quick. So yeah, it's usually very hard to run out of that material, so don't worry about it too much. Just make sure you get some pretty good stats on all of your characters, and you will be fine. Now, the one that actually matters, and I think a lot of you guys will probably skip to this part of the video, is going to be trait rerolls. And before we talk about how to actually get trait rerolls, I want to talk to you guys about actually which traits are good. Of course, if you scroll all the way down, you will see the rainbow traits, which are the best traits in the game. When you actually start, of course, you can't really aim for rainbow traits on all of your characters, so I'll talk to you guys about which ones are actually good. Deadeye is very good for supports, Entrepreneur is very good for money units, Berserk is very good for damage farming, Golden is usually the best on money units, but specifically on Vending Machine and Denji, which are 2 of the best money units in the game, you actually want to go for Momentum. So just keep that in mind. Golden is the best if you want to make a unit cheaper, or if they give money per wave. Momentum is the best if the money unit is giving you money on a specific cooldown. And when it comes to actually getting traits on damage characters, for example, the one I have on Benimaru right now, Giant Slayer, is probably one of the best ones, and Momentum is also one of the best ones. Elementalist is also really good, but you guys can see all it does is it increases DOT damage and DOT rate. Now, what is DOT? DOT is damage over time, which only some characters do. So right now we're on Benimaru, who, of course, if you guys watch Fire Force, is a character that just does a lot of fire damage. So we get specific traits on him to reroll, which are Arcanist and the Fallen One, which increase flame damage. If we look at another character like Sun Jinwoo, who is a summoner, then we'll actually get completely different rainbow traits, which are going to be Survivor and Divine Treasure, which instead of buffing the character's damage, buff the summon's damage. Then if you look at a more basic character like Yuta, we will see that Yuta actually only has Streamliner and the Honored One, which are both traits that only buff direct damage. They don't buff DOT damage, it's straight up just damage. and these are the two that you're usually going to see on your characters. But yeah, with the amount of characters, all of the characters work differently. They're all going to need different traits, and I'm sure you guys are wondering, how do I know how a character works? It is going to be attack passives, and to see a character's attack passive, we need to look on the top left, and for example right here, Benimaru is doing sunburn damage, which is a damage over time attack. You guys can see it, it says it right here. Deal 60% unit damage 10 times over 5 seconds. If you guys get kind of confused and you don't really know if the character's attack is a damage over time or not, then the easiest way I can give to actually check is look at what traits the character can get. I think that's the most straightforward way to look at it. But in this game, it's very important to know how attack passives work, because when you actually want to go and clear stages, and that's why I wanted to talk about Meta Rush more, enemies are going to have different passives too. For example, when we go to Meta Rush, all of the enemies are going to be metal. What metal means is that you need to do a critical hit in order to actually damage those metal enemies. So when you're going into Meta Rush, you have to bring characters that do crit damage, and that is why I was recommending Mage Child, because he is a critical character. Now there's also enemies that can only be damaged by damage over time, and these ones are actually a lot less confusing. They're going to be the element characters. Element enemies can only be damaged by element passive damage, and I think that's very clear, but it is very straightforward. And if you guys want to know what the enemy does, you just press the little information icon and it's going to tell you everything you need to know. The only one it doesn't do that for is for boss. Bosses, you kind of have to get to them and then you see what it actually does. But yeah, just pretty much before you jump into the stage, just make sure that you have the right characters to actually damage all of the enemies, and if you do that, then you'll have a much easier time actually beating all of the stages in this game. Then finally, just before we go ahead and finish this video, if you guys skip to the trait rerolls part, I'm going to explain how to actually farm trait rerolls. But to actually understand how traits work, I just talked about it in the characters section, so feel free to go back to that. But to farm trait rerolls, there's going to be two main ways. The first one is going to be events. Just make sure you clear events, and I would say that's definitely the fastest way of doing it. But once you finish the events, there's still more ways of actually getting trait rerolls. The best one is probably going to be going to AFK reward and spending some time in the AFK room overnight or anything like that. But there's one more way if you guys want a macro, and I would say it's pretty similar to the AFK room. So if you don't want to spend the entire time making a macro, literally just go in the AFK room and you will be getting a lot of rerolls as well. But it would be macroing at infinite stage, because if you go to Evil Pink Dungeon, which is the one I recommended earlier, then you can see right here that I am able to get a trait reroll for 5% drop chance. So if I macro it on master difficulty, I'll let you guys do the maths, but 5 times 7, I won't let you guys do the maths, it's 35%. So you have a 35% chance every time you macro the stage of getting a trait reroll. And the good thing about this strat is that you're also getting other materials at the same time. So you're not only farming trait rerolls, but you're also farming universal materials, which is amazing. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I think I covered everything, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but my voice is almost completely gone. I literally did all of this in one take, so hopefully this guide helped you. If it did, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're watching this a few months later, or you're just not sure about anything, just feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll be replying, trying my best to help, of course. And of course, the next time there's a lot of big changes, I will be making an updated guide. But as of me releasing the video, this should be the best guide out there right now. So I really hope it helped you guys out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.